Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya
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 Gaurang
Jaya Sri
Savi
Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya
Jaya
Jaya Sri
Sri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Jaya
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 Nityananda
Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jaya
Krishna
Dvaita
Chandra
Chandra Jaya
Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jaya Krishna
Dvaita
Chandra
Chandra Jaya
Jaya
Gaura
Gaura
Bhakta
श्री
Bhakta
Vrinda
Vrinda
चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय।
Jai
श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय।
Jai
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai
समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 5, the activities of Sakshi Gopal. So, we read that this young Brahmana went to Vraj, Vrindavan, and he narrated the whole situation to the deity, Gopal. And he said, My Lord, uh, now, unless you come personally and bear witness, uh, no, you please come now, right? You please come and bear witness and protect uh, the dharma of both Brahmanas. That means that older Brahmana and me, myself. Please protect our religious principles. Why? Because you are the protector of Brahminical culture. And now these two Brahmanas' dharma is at stake. That Brahmana promised, and his word will become false if you don't come and bear witness. And I told them that you will come, I will bring you, and if you don't come, my word also will become a false statement. So please come, like that. then, then what did Krishna say? Gopal said, but my dear Brahmana, I've never ever heard that a deity has walked from one place to another. I've never heard that. And then the young Brahmana said, yes, what you're saying is true, but the deity, but if the deity is talking, because we see the deity also doesn't talk, but if the deity can talk, he can walk also. Then Krishna smiled, huh? Because he was defeated in argument by this Brahmana. And then Krishna said, all right, I will come. You walk ahead and I will follow behind you. Yeah. Krishna said, I've never heard of a deity walking from one place to another. And the Brahman said, my dear Lord, you are not a statue. You are directly the son of Maharaj Nanda. Now, for the sake of the old Brahmana, he is not saying for me, for that particular Brahmana, for that old Brahmana, you can do something you have never done before. What is that? You walk. Sri Gopalji then smiled and said, my dear Brahmana, just listen to me. I shall walk behind you, and in this way I shall go with you. So Krishna had to agree. উলাটিয়া আমা তুমি না করিহ দর্শনে আমাকে দেখিলে আমি রহিব সেই স্থানে. But there's a condition. You walk ahead and I will follow behind you. I'll go with you and I'll bear witness. But there's a condition. Ulatiya ama tumi na koriho darshane. Don't turn around to take darshan of me, because you'll be walking in front and I will be walking behind you. Don't turn around to look at me. আমাকে দেখিলে আমি রহিব সেই স্থানে. If you look at me, if you turn around, the moment you turn around to look at me, I will stop moving. I will just stay right there in that place. I won't move anymore. That means I will, I'll remain like once again as a deity. I won't walk. The Lord continued, do not try to see me by turning around. As soon as you see me, I shall remain stationary in that very place. I won't move anymore. নূপুরের ধ্বনি মাত্র আমার শুনিবা, সেই শব্দে আমার গমন প্রতীতি করিবা. Then you may get a doubt, is Krishna following me or not? Isn't it? So it's not just, like 1 mile or something. All the way from northern India to South India, he has to walk. And Krishna is following behind him. How will I know that Krishna is actually following, whether he is there or not? The Brahman may get a question. So Krishna is only answering before the Brahman asked. First Krishna said, don't turn around to look at me. Then Krishna said, you will know that I am following you by the sound of my ankle bells. My nupur sound you will be hearing. So with that you know that I am following behind you. So you don't have to look around to see if I am following or not. Simply by the sound of my ankle bells, you will know. Nupurera dhvani matra amara shuniba. Right? Just hear. You don't look at me, but just hear the sound of my ankle bells. Sei shabde amara gamana pratiti koriba. So you can understand that I am moving by the sound of the ankle bells. Chan, chan, chan. So when you walk, it will make sound. So when you hear the sound of my ankle bells, you know that I'm following. You will know that I'm walking behind you by the sound of my ankle bells. Ekasera anna randhi koriho samarpan, taha khaya tomara sange korivo gamana. So for me, well, Krishna, the deity is also a person, of course. So then in the temple every day he gets so many bhoga offerings, morning, noon and evening. Now he'll be walking for so many days. What will Krishna eat? So Krishna said, every day cook for me 1 seer, 1 kilo of rice every day. Just rice. 1 kilo of rice every day. Eating that, I will follow behind you. I'll walk. So he'll have to make arrangements on the way, beg or whatever. Ekasera anna randhi, cook, right? You get 1 kilo rice, you cook. Kariho samarpan, offer to me. Taha khaya tomare sange kariboga. After eating that, I will walk behind you. So every day, 1 kilo of rice you cook for me. Cook 1 kilo of rice daily and offer it. I shall eat that rice and follow behind you. Ar dina agya magi cholila brahmana, tara pache pache gopala korila gamana. So one day or the next day, Gopal took the Brahman took permission of the Lord that now let's go. And then he started walking. Tara pache pache Gopala korila gamana. And right behind him, right, Gopal started walking also. The next day the Brahman begged permission from Gopal and started for his country. Gopal followed him step by step. Pache pache. Nupurera dhvani shuni anandita mana uttamanna paka kori koraya bhojana. And this Brahman, as he's walking, he's hearing the ankle bell sound of Krishna at every step. Right? Chan, 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 chan. Krishna is walking right behind him, Gopal. He's hearing, and by hearing the ankle bell sound of Krishna, he is in ecstasy. He's going into ecstasy, this Brahmana. Anandita mana. His heart was filled with bliss hearing the ankle bell sound of Krishna. Uttamanna pakakori koraya bhojana. So he cooked the best rice, right? The finest grain, best rice he cooked for Krishna. And he made Krishna to eat. That means he offered to Krishna. He fed Krishna. Uttamanna pakakori koraya bhojana. While Gopal followed the young Brahman, the tinkling sound of his ankle bells could be heard. The Brahman became very pleased and he cooked first class rice for Gopal to eat. Ei mate chali vipra nija deshe aila gramera nikata asi manete chintila. So like this every day. So this is like fast forward, right? It didn't happen in one day. It must have taken months also. But of course, with Krishna, anything is possible. Uh, like that devotee, that Brahmana, that Rukmini sent, right? He went in one night, he reached. Krishna also, he covered the distance from, he was in Mathura at the time, from Mathura to Gujarat. Rukmini is in Gujarat. Overnight, he just went. So, Krishna can do wonderful things. But normally, the distance from Vrindavan to South India must have taken several months. But they walked every day. The Brahman was cooking first class rice for Krishna, and then he would walk and Krishna would follow behind him, and the Brahman could hear the ankle bell sound of Krishna. And in this way, he finally, after several days, he arrived on the outskirts of his village. He did not enter the village yet, but he arrived at the outskirts of his village. Ei mate chali vipra nija deshe aila. He came to his own place, country. Gramera nikata asi manete chintila. After coming close to his village, now he started thinking in his mind. What is he thinking? The young Brahmana walked and walked in this way until he eventually arrived in his own country. When he neared his own village, he began to think as follows. Ebe mui grame ainu jaimu bhavana lokere kohibogia sakhira agamana. Ebe mui grame ainu. So now I have come to the village, right? Jaimu bhavana. I will go to the building. That means I guess where the important people, maybe like the office, I guess, where all these important like Sarpanch, etc. are there. So Jaimu Bhavana, I'll go to that building. Lokere Kohibo Gia Sakhira Agamana. And I'll go and inform all the people that the witness is here. The witness has arrived. Who is the witness? Gopal. So Ebe Mui Grame Ainu. Now I have come to the village. Jaimu Bhavana. I'll go to the office. Lokere Kohibo Gia Sakhira Agamana. And I'll tell all the people that the witness has arrived. I have now come to my village and I shall go to my home and tell all the people that the witness has arrived. Sakshate na dekhile mane pratiti na hoy iha jadi rahe na tabu nahi kichu bhoy. Sakshate na dekhile mane pratiti na hoy. So until and unless they directly see Krishna, the deity, they won't be satisfied in their heart, right? That that they actually that Krishna has come. They have to see Krishna come. That's when they're going to accept it. Sakshate na dekhile mane pratiti na hoy. They will not be convinced until and unless they see Krishna directly. Iha jadi rohena, but if Krishna is even here, because now if he turns around, he has to tell Krishna, right? If he turns around, then Krishna won't move any further. So if Krishna didn't move from here, is it a problem? No, I'm already near my village. This is just the outskirts of the village. He's already come so far from Vrindavan, he's come to South India, and instead of taking to that building, he is in this village, just on the outskirts of the village. So even if Krishna stays here, there's no fear, right? People can come here and they can see Krishna. Yaha jadi rohe na tabu na ki chub bai. Even if Krishna just became stationary here, there's no fear. Now we have arrived. The Brahmana then began to think that if the people didn't directly see the Gopal deity, they would not believe that he had arrived. But even if Gopal stays here, he thought, there is still nothing to fear. Eta bhavi se vipra phiriya chahilo hasiya Gopala deva tathaya rahilo. Eta bhavi, thinking like this, se vipra phiriya chahilo. He decided to turn around and look at Gopal. What did he think? That everyone has to see Krishna personally. But this is close to the village anyway. Even if Krishna stayed back here, still there's no problem. Let me turn around and look at Krishna. And he turned around. He decided to turn around and look at Krishna. Because even if Krishna didn't move from here, still there's no fear. People can still come and take direct darshan of Krishna. Eta bhavi se vipra phiriya chahilo. Hasiya Gopal deva tathaya rahilo. And then Krishna laughed. He smiled when he turned around. And Krishna just became stationary right there. Right? He became turned into a deity. He smiled and he just stopped there. He stayed there. Thinking this, the Brahman turned to look back and he saw the Gopal. He saw that Gopal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was standing there smiling. Brahmanere kohe tumi jaho nija ghar, ethaya rahibo ami na jabo atah para. So Krishna told this Brahmana that now you go home, go to your home. I will stay here. I'm not going to move from here. I won't move any further from here. You go home now. That means you go home and call the people and, I'll bear witness from here only. I'm not coming. I'm not moving any further because the condition was broken, right? Krishna said, if you turn around, then I won't move. So Krishna has to keep his word. You turned around, so I will just stay here. Brahmanere kohe tumi jaho nija ghara ethaya rahibo ami na jabo atah para. The Lord told the Brahman, now you can go home. I shall stay here and shall not leave. Of course, also that I won't disappear and then go back. No, I'll stay here. Go. Tabe se vipra jai nagare kohilo shuniya sakala loka chamatkara hoilo. So this Brahman went into the village, went into town, and he told all the people that the witness has arrived, Gopal has arrived. When the people heard this, they were amazed. What? Gopal has come from Vrindavan? They were amazed. Shuniya Sakala Loka Chamatkara Hoilo. The young Brahman then went to the town and informed all the people about Gopal's arrival. Hearing this, the people were struck with wonder. Ailo Sakala Loka Sakhi Dekhi Bare Gopala Dekhiya Loka Dandavata Kore. When they heard that Gopal has come, they came quickly to the place. The Brahman said he's there on the outskirts. So everyone came and they saw Gopal and immediately they started offering Dandavat obeisances. Ailo Sakala Loka Sakhi Dekhi Bare. They wanted to see the witness. So they all came. And when they saw Gopala Dekhiya Loka Dandavata Kore, all the townspeople went to see the witness Gopal, and when they saw the Lord actually standing there, they all offered their respectful obeisances. Gopala Saundarya dekhi loke anandita, Pratima chaliya aila, Shuniya vismita. Gopala Saundarya dekhi loke anandita. How beautiful Sakshi Gopal was. Seeing his beauty, seeing his charm, they all became so blissful, so ecstatic, so pleased. Gopala Saundarya dekhi loke anandita. Very, very pleased, very happy, very blissful to see Gopal's beauty. Pratima Choliya Aila Shunya Vismita, and also they were wonderstruck. They were amazed that the deity has walked and come all the way from Vrindavan. The deity has walked. When they heard this, they were amazed, surprised. When the people arrived, they were very pleased to see the beauty of Gopal. And when they heard that he had actually walked there, they were all surprised. तबे से ही बड़ विप्र आनंदित होया गोपालेर आगे पड़े दंडवत होया. So the older Brahman also, he came and he saw Gopal. He became so blissful, anandita hoya, and immediately he also fell down in front of Gopal in dandavat obeisances. Then the elderly Brahman, being very pleased, came forward and immediately fell like a stick in front of Gopal. सकल लोकेर आगे गोपाल साक्षी दिलो बड़ा विप्र छोटा विप्र कन्यादान कोइलो. So now Gopal gave witness in front of all the people. Witness about what? That this old Brahmana had promised to give his daughter to the young Brahmana. So in front of all the people, Gopal gave witness. Sakhi dilo. Gopala Sakhi dilo. Then Bada Vipra Chota Vipre Kanya Dana Koilo. And then the old Brahmana did Kanya Dan. He offered his daughter in charity to the young Brahmana. He got them married. Thus, in the presence of all the townspeople, Lord Gopal bore witness that the elderly Brahman had offered his daughter in charity to the young Brahmana. Acha, that was the witness that this old Brahman has actually given his daughter to the young Brahmana. He promised to give his daughter to the young Brahman. तबे सेई दुई विप्रे कहिलो ईश्वर तुमी दुई जन्मे जन्मे अमारा किंकरा. Then the Lord told, after bearing witness, then the Lord told both the Vipras, the old Brahman and young Brahmana. Tabe sei dui Vipra kohilo Ishwar. The Lord began to speak to both the Brahmanas. Tumi dui janme janme amara kinkara. Oh, life after life, birth after birth, you two Brahmanas are eternally my servants. Birth after birth, you are my servants. Tumi dui janme janme amara kinkara. After the marriage ceremony was performed, the Lord informed both Brahmanas, you two Brahmans are my eternal servants birth after birth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Like these two Brahmans of Vidyanagar, there are many devotees who are eternal servants of the Lord. They are specifically known as Nitya Siddha, eternally perfect. Wow. So these two Brahmans are eternally means they are Nitya Siddha devotees, right? Eternal associates means what? Nitya Siddha devotees. Like these two Brahmans of Vidyanagar, there are many devotees who are eternal servants of the Lord. They are specifically known as Nitya Siddha, eternally perfect. Although the Nitya Siddhas appear in the material world and seem to be common members of the world, they never forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any condition. That's the thing. You may see that they are also, sometimes they are poor and they go to school or they study and so many things. They also get married, they have children, so on and so forth. Nitya Siddha devotees. Then how do you know what is the difference between ordinary people and Nitya Siddha devotees? Externally, sometimes it may appear like their activities are just like ordinary people. How do you know what is the difference between Nitya Siddha devotees? They never forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any condition. This is the symptom of a Nitya Siddha. About Srila Prabhupada, right? Some reporter asked, since when or when did you become Krishna conscious? So Srila Prabhupada said, as far as I can remember, right, even from his earliest childhood, as far as he could remember, he was always Krishna conscious. There was never a time when he was not Krishna conscious, even as a child, even as a little child. This is a Nitya Siddha devotee. Nitya Siddha devotee means he is never without Krishna consciousness. He's always Krishna conscious. So these two Brahmans are eternally servants of Krishna. Krishna himself is saying. So that means they're Nitya Siddha devotees. And the symptom of Nityasiddha devotee is they never forget Krishna at any time. Although Nityasiddhas appear in the material world and seem to be common members of the world, they never forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any condition. This is the symptom of a Nityasiddha. There are two kinds of living entities, Nityasiddha and Nityabaddha. The Nityasiddha never forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality, whereas the Nityabadha is always conditioned. Okay? Nityasiddha never forgets his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Nityabadha means eternally he is conditioned, always is conditioned, or he has always been conditioned. Even before the creation, he always forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here the Lord informs the two Brahmins that they are his servants birth after birth. The phrase birth after birth refers to the material world because in the spiritual world there is no birth, death, old age, or disease. By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Nityasiddha remains within this material world like an ordinary man, but the only business of the Nityasiddha is to broadcast the glories of the Lord. This incident appears to be an ordinary story about a marriage transaction involving two ordinary people. However, Krishna accepted the two Brahmanas as his eternal servants. Both Brahmanas took much trouble in these negotiations, just like mundane people, right? They took much trouble in these negotiations, just like mundane people. Yet, they were acting as eternal servants of the Lord. All Nityasiddhas within this material world may appear to toil like ordinary men, right? Struggling. Srila Prabhupada also went through so many struggles. So, all Nityasiddhas within this material world may appear to toil like ordinary men, but they never forget their position as servants of the Lord. So, their Krishna consciousness is never broken under any circumstances. Another point, the elderly Brahmana belonged to an aristocratic family and was learned and wealthy. The young Brahmana belonged to an ordinary family and was uneducated, and also he had no money. But these mundane qualifications do not concern a Nitya Siddha engaged in the service of the Lord. So materialistic people, they are after, prestige and, caste and this and that. But one who is a Nitya Siddha devotee, he doesn't care for these things. These are all mundane qualifications. Then what about in Varnashram Dharma? When you're following Varnashram Dharma, should you follow these things or not? You should follow. You should follow. Because who are the members of Varnashram? They are not Nityasiddha devotees, right? They're all conditioned souls. Varnashram is meant for conditioned souls, but Varnashram system acts like a bridge for the conditioned souls to come to the other side of the bridge. What's the other side? From conditioned state to liberated state, right? So Varnashram helps. So in Varnashram system, yes, you have to pay attention. But Nitya Siddha devotees, they don't belong to this material world. They don't need all these dharmas. So they don't care about, whether somebody is, while performing marriage, for example, whether it's an aristocratic family or not, like that, they don't care. These mundane qualifications do not concern a Nitya Siddha engaged in the service of the Lord. We have to accept the fact that the Nitya Siddhas are completely distinct from the Nitya Baddhas, who are ordinary human beings. So now we cannot, that's why I was saying, we cannot imitate the Nitya Siddhas and say, so and so did, so even I will do. What is your qualification? Right? We should not imitate Nitya Siddha devotees. They are on a different level. So that point is also made here by Srila Prabhupada, that we have to accept the fact that the Nitya Siddhas are completely distinct from Nitya Baddhas. So rules are different. Nitya Baddhas are ordinary human beings. Srila Narottam Das Thakur confirms this statement. Gaurangera Sangi Gane Nitya Siddha Korimane Sejaye Vrajendra Sutapasha Sri Gauda Mandala Bhumi Jeba Jane Chintamani Tara Hoy Braja Bhume Vasa. One who accepts the associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nitya Siddhas is certain to be elevated to the spiritual kingdom, to become an associate of the Supreme Lord. One should also know that Gauda Mandala Bhumi, those places in Bengal where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, are equal to Vrajabhumi or Vrindavan. There is no difference between the inhabitants of Vrindavan and those of Gauda Mandala Bhumi or Sridham Mayapur. Okay? So one who accepts that Mahaprabhu's associates, all Mahaprabhu's associates are Nitya Siddhas, such a person will certainly be elevated to the spiritual kingdom. That means he will certainly go back home, back to Godhead. If one is convinced that the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are all liberated souls. And one should know that Gauda Mandala Bhumi, those places in Bengal where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, are equal to Vrajabhumi or Vrindavan. Right? Places of Bengal where Mahaprabhu stayed are as good as Vrindavan. There is no difference between the residents of Vrindavan and the residents of Gauramandal Bhumi or Mayapur. Brajbasis, right? Those who live in Gauramandal Bhumi, they are Brajbasis. Nice. One thing about seeing the land of Bengal where Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes as non-different from Vrindavan. I just heard it a couple of days ago. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj was speaking about His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Maharaj. So if you don't know Bhakti Raghav Maharaj, he is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, a sannyasi, an initiating guru, and he has only one leg. He goes on crutches. When in Mayapur, you will see Maharaj gives Bhagavatam classes sometimes when he's there. But he spent a lot of time in Mayapur. I think in 76 or something, he moved there and he stayed straight. 18 years he was there serving in Mayapur as a brahmachari, and then later he took sannyas and he became a guru. But one thing is, once when uh, back then Mayapur was from time to time being attacked by dacoits with weapons. They would attack the devotees. So somehow they got this idea that the deities of Radha Madhav, they were made of gold. So they came to steal the deities. And when they would come, they would come from time to time with their weapons, all the devotees would be trembling in fear and they would hide here and there. So then when Bhaktiraghav Maharaj got news that Srimati, the deities have been stolen, they actually took away Srila Prabhupada's Radha Govinda deities. They actually went away. But also they had Radharani from the altar. He said Maharaj had this, even before now I said he has only one leg. I'm going to tell you how he lost that leg. But even before that, his one leg had some problem, meaning, he was like physically, his one leg, he would kind of limp and walk. And when all the big leaders were, in their rooms locked, Bhakti Raghav Maharaj walks out into, where they had bombs. They were throwing bombs and they had guns. And of course, they would come with swords, etc. He just goes to see what he can do in the situation. Instead of just staying safe indoors, he just went. And Maharaj Bhakti Vikas Maharaj didn't say in detail. I'm just repeating what he said. But a lot of activity must have happened in between, because I heard from other devotees that they was throwing stones and they shot him like that. But they threw a bomb. They threw a bomb on Maharaj, and he was trying to save Srimati Radharani. And they left. They left with, as I said, Radha Govind, the deities of Prabhupada. And when the devotees finally came out, they saw Maharaj sitting on the ground in a pool of blood, chanting Hare Krishna. And that's when he lost his leg. And now Maharaj goes on crutches with one leg, and still wherever he goes, he walks without shoes. So one devotee, brahmachari, asked Maharaj why he doesn't wear shoes. And Maharaj said that uh, this land of Bengal where Mahaprabhu walked, this is Chintamani, this is Braj. How can I wear shoes here? I just remembered that. I didn't know this was coming today when we were reading, but this is a coincidence by Krishna's arrangement. But we just read. So anyone, one should also know that Gauda Mandala Bhumi, those places in Bengal where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, are equal to Vrajabhumi. And anyone who accepts like this, he is certain to be elevated to the spiritual kingdom. So you can understand the consciousness of a devotee who is able to actually able to see uh, uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime places, like Mayapur, being able to see as non-different from Vrindavan. If one is able to see and one is able to have that conviction, then you are already eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So with that note, I'll end here. Thank you very much for joining. Hare Krishna. So I'll see.
Mataji, one question. Shakshi Gopalji, he was following the Brahmana, the younger Brahmana. But younger Brahmana was cooking and offering him at that
Without
time
seeing. Yeah, not seeing.
without seeing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or
He would cook.
maybe the Gopal stayed invisible at that time.
Oh, well, we don't know that, but yeah,
Yeah.
he wouldn't see. He wouldn't see.
Okay.
If that was the condition. If he turned around, then he won't move. So he was not turning around.
He
Cook and
did
leave it there. Yeah.
everything facing front and offering. That was funny.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji.